Yo guys, wait a minute, that's not right. Yo guys, it's Slyroh. You already know that today I'm bringing you guys my battle for week 4 of the PPL Division 2 Season 5 against RTK and his Portland Timburrs. Now, last week things happened. I'm going to pretend that it didn't happen. This week is a brand new week and I'm here to bring you guys my team analysis and then the battle. If you guys would like to just skip straight to the battle, there will be a timestamp, first line of the description, all that good stuff. But if you want to stick around and hear what my team is about, I definitely encourage you to do so, because I have I have a team to explain how I build it and all that good stuff. So I'm going to explain how I build it, what the plan is going into the battle, and then we're going to get into the battle, and that is pretty much how all these videos go, so I don't really know why I'm running through the how things works. But yeah, right now we're 1-2. I don't even know what RTK is, probably the same or worse. I don't know. I think he gets like 6-0 every week. I don't know, something like that. So let's just hope that we can do that to him. But either way, let's go ahead and look at the team that we have to build for, because last week, if you guys somehow stuck through the end, I did mention that this was going to be a very tough week to build for, and I wasn't lying. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up RTK's team. His team consists of Excadrill, Latios, Florges, Slowking, Infernape, Tangrowth, Galvantula, Gigalith, Stoutland, and Mega Banette, with Infernape and Stoutland as Z-move users. Though, like always, I didn't really build for Z-moves because, I'm going to keep pretending that they don't exist until they stop existing. So, it's been working for me so far. Z-move hasn't really screwed me over yet, so it's all good. But yeah, Excadrill is very scary. Don't really have much for it on my team. Infernape's always a very scary threat. Sticky Webs, I don't really have much for. It's more about the fact that he can outspeed me. I'm more of an offensive team, not a defensive team. And the fact that it is offensive threats that have ways of getting way faster than I can ever imagine of being is very, very scary. But let's go ahead and talk about my plans going into the game. So, let's go ahead and just go straight left to right, because it doesn't matter too much. But first we're going to start off with Mega Metacham, who has been brought to every single game so far. We got Thunder Punch, Zen Headbutt, Ice Punch, and Drain Punch. I don't know why reading is hard. I went max HP, max attack, adamant, because I don't really need speed to outspeed certain things. So like his speed tiers are very weird. He's got fast stuff. So like I guess I could try and outspeed Excadrill in like the Not Sand, but I wanted Bulk to be able to like live in Earthquake, and then I could just kill with Drain Punch. Maybe not the smartest thing, because if he's set up, then that could be bad for me. But that was my rationale, and I just would like to live more, because after that, I mean, Stoutland is like base 90, but I'm only going to worry about that in Sand. Kind of did the same thing with Excadrill, and everything else is either way faster or way slower. I think the next fastest thing on his team is Florges, which is 60-something, 70, I don't know. I don't remember, but yeah, one of those. So I didn't really need speed, so I just went bulk on this one. And that's kind of a theme. With those moves, I pretty much hit everything. I mean, Drain Punch is pretty much just to make sure I hit Excadrill and to keep health, but everything else has like better things. So like Thunder Punch hits like the Slowking, Ice Punch hits like the Tangrowth. Zen Headbutt is a good move that hits things like Florges for more damage. That's pretty much it. I kind of have to spread around the moves. It was kind of just an extra slot that I didn't really know what else to bring, so I decided to throw Mega Metacham, because you never really go wrong with Mega Metacham. Next Pokemon is the exact same set as last week. I'm bringing Vaporeon again with leftovers. Scald, which protect Ice Beam, physically defensive. This is the best, somewhat, answer I have to Excadrill. I think Earthquake is still a chance to a KO, but I mean with like Protect and stuff, I mean I can live one, get off like a Scald, but of course, if he sets up and stuff, then it's not much of an answer, but it is the best I have. This is also an answer, kind of, to Infernape, somewhat, and that's kind of about it. That's the main physical offense on his team that I'm more worried about. I think Wish could be good, Scald Burns could be good, Ice Beam for Tangrowth and Latios, and yeah, I just felt that Scald, the chance to burn, as well as Stab, Wish Protect, and a physically defensive Mon would be nice in this instance. Next Mon is going to be Klefki, which is being brought with kind of as much overall bulk as possible. I should have maybe committed more to physical defense, but I don't know if it really matters. I basically went max phys def and then put a careful nature on just to up the special defense a little bit, because this is technically my Latios switching, but this is also built in a way that it can 1v1 an Excadrill, but not switch in on it, if that makes sense. So if Klefki's already in, I have the upper hand if he switches in Excadrill at any point after that. I have the Magnet Rise for Earthquakes, Reflect to lessen the damage of things like Iron Head, Foul Play for if he sets up, and even if he doesn't, Foul Play is still does a lot of damage. I think it's like 45 to 49%, something like that. It's almost a 2-hit KO, and if there's, well, I don't have any hazards, but I don't know, wait, I don't know if it would be with Stealth Rocks, but either way, that is mostly that, and then Toxic is kind of for everything else. Toxic is mostly for the Latios. I almost brought Play Rough just to like be able to hit the Latios more, but I figured Toxic was a better overall move, and I could Toxic some of the things that might never die, like Tangrowth, Slowking. Toxicing the Latios would be nice. Florida's less so. I don't know, pretty much anything on his team that I want, and maybe his fast stuff too, Galvantula, Infernape. Pretty much anything is cool with being toxic. I'm pretty much cool with that. So it's a good overall move. And yeah, I got leftovers just to live for as much as I can. And yeah, it's the best bet I have. Reflect also could help other things live, things from Excadrill. That is the plan, because that is the main threat of his team to me. So, yep, there is that. So, next is going to be Tyrantrum being brought for the first time. I actually just picked it up off the transfer last week, after week 2, something like that. Week 3, I think last week was the first week I could have brought it, and this is the first week that it is showing up. And I'm bringing a Choice Scarf Tyrantrum with Head Smash, Stealth Rock, Toxic, and Earthquake. Adamant, 220 speed. I believe that outspeeds a max speed Latios. Is that the fastest thing he could have? I think it might be that. I don't 100% remember, but I think it could be. And yeah, so Head Smash is pretty much all I need to hit pretty much anything, because that's just what Head Smash does. And the things that kind of resisted, I either don't have much for, or Earthquake is also a good option. Earthquake, I think, does more to Excadrill. It does more to Gigalith, but it's still not like a lot. That's kind of what Toxic is there for. Just for if I, need a Toxic off on something that isn't going to die to a Tyrantrum hit. Also, I just didn't need another move. I mean, I had no idea what else I was going to put on, so, Toxic, whatever. And Stealth Rocks for hazards and stuff, if I ever do get them up. He's not necessarily weak to hazards, somewhat. I mean, he's got the Regenerator it could kind of mess with, but, yeah, but besides that, he's not, like, super weak, to hazards. But I also wanted to bring Tyrantrum because I'm really scared of Sticky Web, and, even though this wouldn't prevent it, if I see a Galvantula, I would like to lead with Tyrantrum turn 1 and just Head Smash turn 1. If he's Focus Sash, then, I mean, he lives, and if not, then then I don't need to worry about Sticky Webs. But that is something that I am very, very scared of. And then we have Tentacruel is also being brought physically defensively. I just wanted Rapid Spin for a chance to get rid of Sticky Webs. Scald, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain were just moves to hit things. Scald, Stab, Sludge Bomb, Stab also does the nice 30% chance to poison. That's why I went Bomb over Wave. Sludge Bomb also, I mean, that hits like Tangrowth, whereas Giga Drain hits like Slowking. It's obviously not like 2-KOing things, but it's better than nothing. And then Scald, I mean, it hits Gigalith, it's also Stab, and Rapid Spin, all that good stuff. Scald also hits Excadrill, but I don't know when I'm going to get that chance to hit a Scald on Excadrill, because I would die to an Earthquake. But this is also just another answer to Infernape, that way I don't have to send in Vaporeon for literally every single time. And yeah, so there's that. Then my last mon is going to be Tapu Bulu, also being brought max HP, max attack with Horn Leech, Woodhammer, Mega Horn, and Nature's Madness, with the Assault Vest, because this is the best switch in I have to Galvantula, because I'm going to need to switch into it with something, and can also switch into Latios, I believe, and Florges, and Slowking, though I risk a Scald Burn. Yeah, I mean, Tapu Bulu switches into a lot. The grassy terrain is good to slow down the Earthquake from Excadrill. Even though I'm weak to the Iron Head, so I can't just like switch in on it. And yeah, I went Horn Leech and Wood Hammer, depending on which one I need to kill. I would much rather go for Horn Leech, but if I need the damage from Wood Hammer, I will. Mega Horn does more damage to Latios and Tangrowth. Mostly Tangrowth is why that's there. And I literally could not think of a fourth move. Because I'm Assault Vest, I can't just throw Toxic, and there's a fourth move is not needed, so I just do Nature's Madness on because whatever. But literally, I will never ever go for Nature's Madness. It would make no sense. I'm either going for one of these three moves, depending on the situation. Probably one weird thing, and that I'm now seeing about my team is Excadrill is a very, very big threat to my team. Yet I don't really have ways to deal with it. I mean, I have ways to deal with it. I have semi-switch-ins to it, and I have things that outspeed it outside of the sand. I don't know, but it could still be very, very difficult. So I'm hoping that this team puts it work. I don't know that I feel overly confident with this team build, but at least I recognize that instead of going in thinking that it's the best team build ever, which, you know, that's what happened last weekend. Yeah, no. So, we're just going to do our best, hope for the best, and that is going to be the team analysis. So, I will see you guys in like 2 seconds for the battle. Alright, hi, hello. I am here on this type of screen. This is not a Wi-Fi battle. This is not even a showdown battle. We have a narrated by spreadsheet battle. So, basically what happened is me and R2K, we battled on Wi-Fi. And last turn of the battle, literally the last move went off, the last Pokemon died, and DC. So we could not save the battle. There was a lot of hacks that we were not able to recreate properly, and this is the solution that the admins told us that would be the best way to do. So I'm going to try and do my best to kind of visually point and click as to what is in what where. I have every single turn of the battle written down, and I will narrate every single turn of this battle for you guys. So use your imagination, pretend that the Pokemon are just, you know, throwing moves at each other, all that good stuff, and that is what this battle is going to be. So I do apologize for not a Wi-Fi upload again, but my internet isn't reliable. It was DC on my side, not on purpose, but you know, it is what it is. So that is very, very sad. So you guys already know the team that I brought. If you do not, you can just scroll backwards in the video because that's how things work. But we didn't know what RTK would bring. But he brought a lot of what I expected. Excadrill, Latios, Slowking, Infernape, Tangrowth, and Gigalith. Did not fit in a Galvantula there, so that was very, very nice. But also no Mega Banette. I kind of just really didn't even prep for that, which is really bad because it's a really good Pokemon. But yeah, so I'm going to take you through turn by turn, battle, all the good stuff. So, without further ado, let's go ahead. Right now, we're both losers, which is very accurate. But by the end, one of us will win. And unfortunately, I was not able to set up where me and RTK would have been able to both commentate at the same time. I think that can be a little bit, I don't know, too many different ideas floating around at once. He's going to have a similar style video on his channel. If you want to know all of his thought processes and everything from his side, go check that out. His links will be in the description. But I do think that it's easier to clearly convey the thoughts and predictions and all that from one person talking outside of us getting sidetracked and all the other stuff that possibly could have happened. Plus, just setting it up was not the easiest thing for us to do. So, let's go ahead and start the battle. I do not see a Galvantula, therefore I don't see the need to lead Tyrantrum. I look at what could be the best answer to his most likely leads. I imagine his most likely leads would be Infernape or Gigalith, and I just felt that Vaporeon had a good match against everything. Looking back, maybe just leading off with Klefki could have been nice, but he actually leads off with Infernape, so it turns out to be, you know, not too bad. So I lead off with Vaporeon, he leads off with Infernape. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. But let me see. Oh yeah, because I can just Scald. It doesn't matter what he's going to go for, even like a Thunder Punch or whatever. Or at the very least, I can see kind of what sort of set he is. And he actually just U-turns. He's going to U-turn out into the Slowking. And as I go for the Scald, and I Scald the Slowking, it does pretty much nothing. I also find out from the U-turn damage that he is not banded. No Life Orb, nothing like that. It's looking like he's probably Scarfed, or he could be a Z-move. But he is not any sort of attack boosting thing, although he was max attack, as you imagined most Infernapes would be. But he goes into a Slowking, and I get the Scald, which does 0 damage. But I do get the Scald Burn, which is a foretelling of things to come, not necessarily that important for a Slowking. In fact, it's probably better for his Slowking to be burned, because that means that I never get a chance to Toxic it, which is very good for him, honestly. But, so he's in with the Slowking, I'm in with the Vaporeon. I can't really do much. I'm going to go ahead and tempt fate with the Scald Burn return. I'm going to go ahead into Tapu Bulu, but he is not actually going to go for a move, and he is instead going to switch it back out into Infernape, which was kudos. That was a good play. It was a good double switch. So I'm in with Tapu Bulu, he's in with Infernape, and that is very scary. I do not like that, but instead of switching into Vaporeon over and over and over, I wanted to show him that I can switch in other things too, so I go ahead and switch into Tentacruel. Also, Tentacruel is a little bit more expendable because I don't need the Rapid Spin for the Sticky Webs. He could still set up rocks, so I'm not just throwing it away, but it's not as important because the Sticky Webs will never be there. But I'm going to go ahead into Tentacruel, and he goes for the Earthquake on that, which was a pretty good prediction, but the Grassy Terrain was up, and I'm physically defensive Tentacruel, so it does, I think it did like 30%, and then I got Grassy Terrain back, and then I got Black Sludge back, so it was, really didn't do that much, and I felt pretty good about it. I thought he might just go back into the Slowking, and I didn't want to just go for Scald, so I went for the next best thing, which was Sludge Bomb. But he actually, and I think he switches. Yeah, he switches, he straight switches out. He doesn't go for the U-turn, which I didn't really think about it at the time, but I was going off of the assumption that he was Scarfed, which turns out he actually was, but that was the assumption that I was going off of, but he did straight switch into Latios as I go for Sludge Bomb, and I got the Poison. So I got the Scald Burn on Slowking, which didn't matter, but it's still funny that it happened. The Sludge Bomb Poison on Latios, which, I mean, part of the plan was to Toxic it with Klefki at some point eventually, so, you know, not sure how big of a deal it was, but it is just kind of like, I'm kind of getting every hack so far, which is unfortunate for RTK, but, I mean, it's good for me. I'm all good with that. So Latios is now poisoned, and Tentacruel is in, but I don't want to like take a Psychic or anything, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to Klefki because that's my switch into Latios, and he's just going to recover. So he's back in full health, except for the Sludge Bomb Poison, 1 turn of poison damage, because it's not toxic, so it's going to be the same every time. So that's all he has. He's basically at full health though. But I'm in with Klefki, and what do I do first? I go for the Toxic because I didn't expect him to stay in, and I figured anything that he would switch in, I would like to get Toxic. And he actually switches in the Gigalith, so he sets up the Sand, but his Gigalith gets Toxic. So that's very, very nice for me. Like I said, anything Toxic is good for me, and the fact that Gigalith is on a timer now means that he can't just be setting up Sand for like the whole game. I assume that because he's setting up Sand that he's going to want to just get into Excadrill like as soon as possible. So I actually go for Magnet Rise this turn, assuming that he might switch into Excadrill, and I'll be like, no, I'm ready for that. But he actually goes for Stealth Rocks, so he does get up Rocks. Rocks are on my side of the field. Klefki now immune to Ground type moves, which at this point looking like it's not going to matter. But I'm still sticking to he could potentially switch into Excadrill. So now I set up a Reflect. So I am off the ground, I am behind a Reflect. Klefki is pretty much unbreakable. It's amazing. And as I set up the Reflect, he actually switches to Infernape. So the Infernape comes in again, Very scary, and this time it's in against Klefki, but because of the Reflect and the fact that I know he's not Choice Bandit or anything, an Adamant Flare Blitz will do about half, and then with the leftovers, it's like a chance into a KO. But I don't think that he's going to go for Flare Blitz. He's been doing a lot of U-turning, he's been doing a lot of predicting, so I don't think that's what he's going to do. Obviously can't go for the Earthquake because I'm off the ground, but he is, so I'm actually going to stay in and go for Foul Play to get some damage off, or the thing I was most scared of is going into Tentacle or something. I thought he might U-turn, and if he U-turned, I thought that could be a free switch into Excadrill. So if I switched into Tentacruel or even Vaporeon, he U-turns and then switches into Excadrill, and that's not what I want. So I stay in on Infernape. The Infernape goes for Close Combat, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Yep. Goes for Close Combat as I go for Foul Play, so I do get some damage on the Infernape, and he went for Close Combat first, so I actually got a little bit more damage because he was at -1 defense when the Foul Play went off, which was pretty nice, and so there was that. So at this point, I'm thinking he could do more damage with Close Combat. It did a decent amount to Klefki, less than half for sure, but I don't want to just be throwing damage away if it's not necessary, so since Sand is at least like halfway over, I figured now is an okay time to go into Vaporeon. I switch in Vaporeon on the Infernape, but he makes a double switch again, and this time he switches to Tangrowth. This man is reading me like a book. It is insane, and I didn't really know what the Tangrowth was going to go for. Obviously, didn't want him to go for a Grass move, so I think I switch out. No, I Protect. I Protect to see what he's going to go for, and to get a turn of leftovers. But I think Stan was still up, so however that balances out. I did just want to scout what he was going to go for, and he went for Knockoff. So I didn't really like that, and I don't have a lot of knockoff switch-ins. So assuming that he might go for Knockoff again, I switch into a Mega Medicham because his Mega Stone can't get knocked off. All that good stuff. And he actually goes for Power Whip, does a decent amount of damage. But the Reflect, I think, was still up for that turn, and then the Reflect wears off on that, or something like that. Oh no, I think it was one more turn, because he goes for Power Up as I switch in. I then stay in, I Mega Evolve, and go for Drain Punch. Turns out he's Rocky Helmet and like physically defensive, so I do some damage, but I also hurt myself more, which was bad. And then he went for Leech Seed, so then I lost a turn of Leech Seed. But he's, after the Drain Punch, he's a little bit above, he's around half but slightly above, and depending on where exactly he was, it looked like Ice Punch could have been a roll, so I actually risk it. I stay in and I go for the Ice Punch. I get Tangrowth down to the red, and unfortunately I do not take it out, and he goes for the Power Whip, and he does take out Mega Medicham, making the first death of the game. So that is one Pokemon down. Mega Medicham, I didn't really know what it was going to do. Unfortunately, it got Tangrowth down pretty low, but Tangrowth could regenerate itself back up, and that makes it not very good for me. So now that I got a free switch into a Tangrowth that's on, literally it was at 10% maybe, at the very highest, I go into Tapu Bulu, because making him switch into Tapu Bulu is a great thing for me, because he's not able to do it super well. Especially because I don't think at this point he knows what I am, because, I mean, I could be Scarfed, so that doesn't make, like, a safe switch into, like, Latios, or, I guess since his Infernape is Scarfed, he could potentially switch in one, but he was in the range to die to a Wood Hammer, so, all that good stuff. So, I'm going to go ahead and go into Tapu Bulu, force him to switch out. He does switch out. He, if I'm pretty sure, he goes to Latios. Yeah, he switches into Latios as I go for Horn Leech. Horn Leech was a good enough play. Does over half the Latios. Pretty sure Latios got off one Psychic. I stayed in, just went for another Horn Leech, and I did kill the Latios, but he got one Psychic off and got the special defense drop. So, I mean, some hacks on his side, but I don't think it's going to end up mattering, because after I kill the Latios, he is going to bring in Excadrill, and I'm not staying in on an Excadrill. therefore the special defense drop doesn't really matter. Because grassy terrain is up, and I assume, and the sand is not up, because Gigalith has been like a year since Gigalith has been in, so the sand's not up, it's just an Excadrill, and I assume he's just going to threaten me with the Iron Head because he doesn't want to deal with Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu is at a range where it can die to Iron Head now. I think even at full, it's like a roll to kill. So I assume he's going to go for the Iron Head, so I switch into Vaporeon. I am correct, he goes for the Iron Head, does not much to Vaporeon. It is great. And then I'm going to go ahead and go for the Wish because I'm not scared of an Excadrill, not in the sand right now. When I'm already with Vaporeon and he already like didn't do that much. So I'm gonna go ahead for Wish, and he switches into Slowking, so he switches out of Excadrill, all that good stuff, into Slowking. Like I said, I Wish, and then I Protect as he goes for, what does he go for? Psychic, maybe? Let me see. Yeah, he goes for Psychic. It's the only offensive move I think he ever showed in the game from Slowking, but he goes for Psychic, but I protected myself, so I get my health back. I'm at full with Vaporeon, and since he's in with Slowking, I can't imagine what he can do to hurt me, so I'm going to go for another Wish because I want to pass it on. So I go for another Wish, stay in, and on this turn he actually switches back into Tangrowth, and this is definitely one play that he will probably tell you himself that he regrets doing, because it doesn't really make sense. Vaporeon is clearly faster than Tangrowth. I already know that it's fully physically defensive because of Mega Medicham, so there's no possible way it outspeeds me. And I have Ice Beam, and I'm not scared of him, so I go for the Ice Beam, and I just straight up kill Tangrowth. So the whole issue that I was going to have with Tangrowth, because Mega Medicham couldn't seal the deal and kill it, I thought it was going to regenerate a lot of health up, but thankfully didn't have to worry about that. I went for the Ice Beam, and I don't know, I guess he thought that he was going to threaten me out. Maybe I would overthink myself, but nope. I knew as soon as Tangrowth came in, my plan was to just attack it with whatever I was in with. The only way that Tangrowth was going to be able to stay alive at that point is if he got a clean switch into it with Klefki in. And the only way that happens is either on a double switch as I switch into Klefki, or if Klefki kills something, which was probably never going to happen. So Tangrowth, you know, it stays renumbered, and Vaporeon was the one to bring it to it. Oh yeah, I should also like put the kills and stuff. Who killed Mega Medicham? Tangrowth did. There we go. There we go. So Tangrowth, you know, it killed Mega Medicham, died. Vaporeon killed that thing, and Tapu Bulu killed the Latios. Sorry, I forgot about the kills. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I have 5 Pokemon still. He has 4. So, let me see. Where are we at? So I killed the Tangrowth, and now he brings in Gigalith, and I was so mad at this turn. As big of a misplay that he kind of made with that Tangrowth there, I kind of made with this play. So he sends in Gigalith, and I'm just thinking, what in the world can Gigalith do to Vaporeon? There's pretty much nothing, unless he's going to Toxic me, because he's at a range where Scald will not kill him. But man, I should have just switched into Tentacruel, because he's not going for an Earthquake on my Vaporeon. If he's going to go for damage, he would go for a Rock move probably. And Toxic was so obvious, and I'm so mad that I stayed in. I got Toxic. I went for the Scald, so I did get damage on Gigalith, which was very nice. But now my Vaporeon is Toxic, which is bad because Excadrill is still alive. So is Infernape. So that's not good that my Vaporeon is Toxic. So, yeah, Toxics me, all that good stuff. And then we both double switch. I switch into Tapu Bulu on the Gigalith because I feel like he can't do that much to me, as he switches into the Excadrill. And this is scary because I can't stay with Tapu Bulu. Excadrill is in the sand, and everything is very scary. So, because Excadrill is in, I switch back into Vaporeon, and he sets up a Swords Dance. So Swords Dance Excadrill in the sand. I have a Toxic Vaporeon in. It's still pretty close to full health, but it's very, very scary. So the only thing I can do is I can go for Scald, which has maximum of 90%, and just hope and pray from there. So this turn, he goes for Rock Slide, and I was like, oh no, this Hax is going to get me. He's going to flinch me, but he doesn't. Instead, he gets the Rock Slide off, does about half. I go for Scald, and I burn his Excadrill. My Vaporeon lives the hit, doesn't get flinched, goes for Scald, burns the Excadrill. I'm 2 for 2 on Scald burns this game, and 1 for 1 on Sludge Bomb poisons, and this is the most important burn of the game. However, Scald did do a lot of damage, and he was Life Orb, so he took Life Orb recoil. But basically, that is going to be pretty bad for his Excadrill, and we're going to come back to this specifically as I'm going to play out the rest of the battle. Actually goes pretty quickly from here. So I go for Protect to stall out a Sand turn, because at this point Excadrill is still going to kill Vaporeon, and I just need to survive for as long as I can. So I Protect, stall out a Sand turn. He goes for like Earthquake or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And then he takes a turn of burn damage, and then he goes for Earthquake again and dies to Life Orb. So Vaporeon dies to Excadrill Earthquake. Excadrill gets that kill with the Earthquake and then dies to Life Orb. Pretty sure he took 2 turns of burn damage. The initial one when he got burned by Scald, and the burn damage when I when I used Protect. So I don't know how many more turns that would have given him if he wasn't burned. Max would have been 2 turns, I think. So, you know, it's interesting to think about how that would have played out. But let's go ahead and finish up the battle. So, I sent in Tentacruel as he sent in Infernape. I was pretty cool with that matchup. So, I'm just going to go ahead and Scald, and he just straight switches to Slowking, so it's not going to do anything. Slowking is going to go for Psychic as I switch into Tapu Bulu. So now I have Tapu Bulu in. It can Oko Slowking, and he's only got, oh, I'm sorry, when did Gigalith die? Gigalith died at some point already. Oh no! Did I kill... You know what? Vaporeon's Scald must have killed Gigalith. I don't have it written down, but... No, that's not right. When did I kill Gigalith? We'll come back to that. But alright, yeah, we'll come back to that. Where I'm at now is that I switch into Tapu Bulu on Slowking, who went for Psychic. Then he has to try and switch into me, and he can't. I go for Wood Hammer. He stays in with Slowking, just sacks it off. So Slowking is dead. Tapu Bulu picks up its 3rd kill, because Tapu Bulu killed Gigalith. I think we must have missed a turn when we were talking this through. But then he switches into Infernape. He's going to lock himself into Flare Bullets as I switch back into Tentacruel. And then I Scald, which kills the Infernape as the game DCs. I saw it go to 0 on Infernape's health bar. And then, yeah. So, alright, so while we were battling, I definitely wrote down that Tapu Bulu kills Gigalith. And I don't know at what turn that would have happened. So I'm trying to think. So, because I scalded Gigalith when it Toxic Vaporeon. I somehow must have gotten a free switch into Tapu Bulu, and then he let me kill the Gigalith. So, I don't know what move the Gigalith would have went for, but at some point, Tapu Bulu must have killed Gigalith, because that's what I have written down in the battle. I don't remember when that happened. So that is one thing that does not quite add up, but I do have it written down, because I always write down who kills what during the battle. So as soon as something happens, I always write it down. And every other kill matches up with what was written down, but that one does not. So I'm not sure what was up with that, but this is the final score. We win. Excuse me, I am a winner. There we go. I am the winner. I win 4-0 over RTK and his very scary team. I somehow outlasted the Exadrill, and yeah, all that good stuff. So obviously the Scald Burn on the Exadrill mattered a little bit, but because of Life Orb, he was going to die in like 1 or 2 turns anyway. But that does mean that I would have probably had to sack off 2 things, which who knows what that would have been. Probably Klefki and Tapu Bulu, but I really don't know. I mean, maybe even Tyrantrum, but Tyrantrum would have been nice because, well, no, if Exadrill was going to kill itself to Life Orb, I probably wouldn't have minded letting Tyrantrum go down because, well, I don't know. Yeah, it's so. I don't think it would have mattered either way, but I still think I would have won. I think it probably would have been like a 2-0, but I think I still would have won, but the differential would have been lower. But the fact that I got all the hacks kind of just rubbed the salt in the wound a little bit, and wasn't great for him. But that is the battle. My voice is actually really hurting right now, so it's hurting my throat, and so I'm going to wrap this up. But that is the battle. If you do have any questions about specific things, I do apologize for getting the we're missing a turn somewhere where Tapu Bulu kills Gigalith, but besides that, everything else is accurate. I went turn by turn. So let me know what you thought. If you have any questions about anything in the battle, let me know, and I can definitely answer that for you. And I will see you guys next week when we take on Hera and the SL Benfica. I don't know, beats me. One of those things. Someone that we've never played, and pretty scary team as well. I also made a transfer that takes effect next week, so we will have that. So stay tuned for that. I will announce that next week when I do the team builder, and that is going to wrap it up for this week of the PPL. We are 2-2 on the up and up, so another win, and it's almost like that 6-0 never happened. So that is this. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. So until then, guys.